It's Derby Day in Scotland, Rangers against Celtic, but they're not the top teams in Scotland this season. That honour goes to Hearts, who could have extended their lead at top before Rangers and Celtic play each other. Dan, Rangers and Celtic, despite the fact that Celtic are supposed to be the better team, I looked at the odds, and Rangers are the favourites going into this one.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think it's a surprise when you look at how Celtic have performed in the last week. Thumped by Stuttgart at home in the Europa League 4-1. They've got to go to Germany on Thursday to try and claw that back and get into the round of 16 of that tournament. But also, more importantly, losing to Hibs at home in the league 3 days later. A massive upset when you consider what happened across the Scottish Premiership in both Glasgow and Edinburgh that same day. So we are where we are in terms of the Scottish Premiership title race. And it's strange to see an Old Firm derby where Rangers and Celtic aren't first and second. Second and third is uncharted territory, really. And with Hearts playing the day before, that's only going to put even more pressure on these two sides. One of them's going to drop points. If Hearts win, then it might be the end of their title race hopes.
And I looked at that table, and it's easy to say it's Hearts, Rangers, and Celtic. Motherwell in fourth potentially could even upstage Celtic if they don't win at Rangers.
Absolutely, yes. I think we're talking of a 3-horse race. It would be very unfair to leave out Motherwell. Let's say Motherwell win at the weekend, Celtic lose, they'd be a point behind the hoops. And if you're saying a 3-horse race, then you have to say a 4-horse race. Motherwell might not win the title, but they could be kingmakers because they've got to play the top 3 before now the end of the season. So they will have a massive say as to where that trophy goes. If results go their way, they could collect it themselves.
Let's look at the managerial merry-go-round in Scotland this year. Hearts have obviously benefited from having a stable hand in charge. But for Rangers and Celtic, Rangers obviously have switched managers this season. Celtic, they brought Martin O'Neill a couple of times. The experiment with Wilfred Nancy didn't particularly work. What's it gone wrong for these two big Old Firm clubs this year?
Well, I think it is just managerial recruitment because I know hindsight is wonderful, but had Rangers gone with Danny Rowe at the start of the season instead of Russell Martin, I would likely see them top of the table by now. But to say they are in the title race because of such a poor start under Martin, to be where they are, only sort of highlights the great job that the current Rangers boss, Danny Rowe, has been doing. So they are making up lost grounds. Whether there's too much ground to make up, we'll have to wait and see. But they're certainly moving in the right direction. Proof of that when they beat Hearts only recently 4-2 at Ibrox. So you feel they are rightfully second at the moment. As for Celtic, I just think that it's not only been managerial issues, it's been a lack of recruitment in terms of players. They've sat on their laurels far too much. They bank all this cash thinking that they don't need to spend money because of a lack of competition. And maybe that's right. But at the same time, when you're at the top, you need to keep at the top. You can't just sort of say, okay, well, we're going to just do what we do. You need to be completely evolving in football. And I think with Celtic standing still in terms of bringing in talent, that's caught them out. Obviously, managerial issues. No one really expected Wilfred Nancy to be as bad as he was, let's be honest. Martin O'Neill, with hindsight again, maybe if they kept him as the interim in one hit, that would have kept Celtic on the tails of Hearts much closer. So it's just been a catalogue of wrong decisions in Glasgow, really, and the Edinburgh outfit Hearts have taken full benefit.
I know it's a cliche, just kind of question about to ask, but has the Scottish Premiership, has it improved, or have Rangers and Celtic just been poor?
I guess it depends on the optic of what you label it by. It's improved because we see a 3-horse race, but it's arguably improved because of the lessening quality of Rangers and Celtic. So as a whole, I think it's improved because even people outside of Scotland are now talking about it as a main talking point, whereas before, you'd only really be talking about an Old Firm derby 4 times a season. So it's become more of the narrative of general football conversation, which I think is great to see from a Scottish League perspective. If that continues over the next few years and it's not just a one-off, then it becomes a stronger league, they'll become stronger in Europe, and the benefits will continue, and it will make the likes of Motherwell even better. So it will kind of raise the level of everyone up. So I think it's the first step in the league's improvement, but I think that improvement has to come about because of Rangers and Celtic dropping down a level.
All right. One final question before we take predictions. How damaging is dropping points for either of these sides this weekend? Does that effectively end it, or the way the Scottish Premiership has gone this year, does it still feel like even if one of these teams loses, there will still be a chance?
depends who loses, because Celtic have a game in hand, but you just can't really see Celtic getting anything at the moment. They're so inconsistent. I think a lot more depends on what Hearts do the day before. So Hearts play Aberdeen. If they win, as I say, then the pressure gets really heaped on both of the old firm shoulders. So I think probably a draw is probably the worst result for both, because then they both drop points. Rangers, if they lose and Hearts win, that's a 7-point gap. Maybe that's out of touch. If Celtic lose, then they've got that game in hand. It's maybe that one slight ace up their sleeve. So I think it's more must-win game for Rangers than it is Celtic. But I think Rangers are more capable of winning this game than Celtic.
All right, so let's put our betting caps on then. How do you think this one goes?
Well, I think it's going to be a home win, because not only have Celtic had a rocky week, they've got that extra game going to Germany against Stuttgart on Thursday. They've also lost Trusty at centre-back. They're going to have a very weak centre-back partnership, and I think Rangers, in the form they are in, will be licking their lips at that prospect, which means there'll also be goals. I think it'll be a home win, and I like the line of over 3.5 goals as well. The Old Firm derby always promises lots of entertainment, so I'm going to go big on the goals, because of Rangers' attacking options and Celtic's deficiency in defence. So a home win and over 3.5 goals.
Wow, that's a bold prediction. Thank you very much, Dan. Detail as always.
Thanks, Stu.